For the last couple of years, I have been on this mind-numbing, soul-sucking search trying to figure out where I fit in as a content creator. I've jumped between games, tried different niches, and experimented with different kinds of content, but there is nothing that I've made in that time that has ever really clicked for me the way that things have used to. And I think I finally understand why. Guys, I think I just really love Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
From 2021 to 2024, a large majority of the content that I was producing was all about Final Fantasy XIV. In my 8 or so years as a content creator, the period that I was making stuff on Final Fantasy XIV was the only time that I feel like I was ever creating purely out of passion. Not because I felt like I had to, but just because I genuinely loved what it was I was making. By the end of 2024, I wasn't playing Final Fantasy as much anymore. I'd begun to feel like my future as a content creator relying solely on Final Fantasy XIV was incredibly risky. I wanted Liffeh to be not just recognized as Final Fantasy XIV content creator anymore, but maybe even just a VTuber instead.
Liffeh, more like...
Why did the fart sound go off right as you said that? I wanted to build a community that was interested in more than just Final Fantasy XIV, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. I streamed new games, made new friends, and even ended up building a community that would be surprised whenever they found out that I actually played Final Fantasy XIV. But if I'm being real with myself, while I absolutely loved every stream, every video or short that I put out during this period, I felt so adrift with my content. Like I was just floating in the ethereal sea without any sense of direction, just reaching my hand out to grasp anything nearby, but nothing ever seemed to stick for me. Since I stepped away from the content scene in Final Fantasy XIV, I've essentially had what I'm just going to call art block, but like for content creation. I'd try out new games or brainstorm ideas for content within a different niche that I'd want to try, and like 99% of the time, I would come back with absolutely nothing. For years now, I've been trying to find more things that I'm passionate about, just anything else that's even remotely close to the level of passion that I've had for Final Fantasy XIV, and every single time, absolutely nothing. A month ago, I was on the search again. I came across this video essay for an anime that I had never watched before called Blue Period. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything major, but this video was speaking to me on a level that I had never ever felt before. So about halfway through the video, I just stopped watching entirely and I started reading the manga. And within the first 2 chapters, I never felt like I related to a character more than the protagonist. Blue Period is a story about pursuing your passion, even if you're going to get absolutely nothing out of it. Yaguchi is a top student. He's great with girls, he spends time with his friends, and basically he's just checking off all the boxes of what people generally would consider having a successful life. This isn't really the stuff that I relate to very much, but I'm getting to that. Basically, the reason that he's doing the things that he's doing is because he believes that's what's expected of him. His parents, his teachers, they all expect him to get into a good school, find a good job, and make a lot of money. His friends expect him to root for their favorite sports team and drink and smoke together. Yaguchi doesn't have a single thing in his life that he does because it's what he wants. That is until he stumbles across this giant, beautiful canvas, and Yaguchi is completely smitten by this beautiful piece of art in front of him. It appears to be moving for him. It's reaching out towards him even. And from that moment forward, Yaguchi realizes his newfound love for art and he decides to pick up painting. There's so many other moments in this beautiful story that I resonate with very deeply that I could honestly just make its own entire video on it. But the one thing this moment has really made me realize is that passion normally is not something that can be sought out, but instead, passion tends to find you when you least expect it. Maybe you're in Walgreens and you hear a song over the radio and you end up really liking it to the point where you go home, you find it online, and you end up binging the entire band's discography. And now you've gone and bought a guitar and you're watching a YouTube video on how to play the Freebird solo. It's pretty ambitious, honestly. Maybe finding passion is as simple as just forgetting a pack of cigarettes in the art room and going to find it and stumbling upon the most beautiful piece of art you've seen in your entire life. Maybe, and this is just a theory, maybe one of your viewers won't shut up about Final Fantasy XIV and eventually they convince you to try the free trial for a stream. You end up quitting for 6 months and then your entire friend group starts to pick up the game and play, and eventually you get picked up along with it. And then all of a sudden you now have like literally 1,000 days of playtime on a character, but probably like 50% or so of that has been spent idling in Limsa Lominsa in a spot that's now been occupied by this really cute looking e-couple because you've been on something until the last patch came out. Okay, that might have been a little bit too specific, but that's not the point here. I'm realizing that it is so silly for me to say that I've been trying to find more things that I'm passionate about when I already know what it is I've been so passionate about this entire time. With the recent fan fest and stuff about Evercold coming out, I have been feeling the Final Fantasy XIV hype more than ever. I resubbed for 7.5 obviously, and I've been playing it again, and I find myself spending hours and hours on the game like I used to a couple of years ago, and it has been so fucking exciting for me. Final Fantasy XIV has always been my favorite MMO. And as a diehard fan of the game, it has always been incredibly frustrating for me to have this want to play the game, but ending up deciding that nothing new has really interested me enough to get me to actually come back and play the game actively again. And you know what the funny thing is? I really couldn't tell you what's so different about this patch. It's not even like it's incredibly different from the other patches before. You know, we got new MSQ, which is wonderful. So we got a new dungeon, a new trial, the last Alliance raid came out, which was really fun, and whatever else. It's just your average patch, really. But despite the fact that it's exactly the same as previous patches, something still feels a little bit different. Does anyone else notice that? Maybe it is just the Evercold hype, or maybe it's the president of Chorty. Oh my god, wait, this is him. This is the guy I saw on Twitter. It's Chort. But whatever it is, it's worked on me, and it has me back playing actively again, and I'm really happy about that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I'm done searching for something that isn't supposed to be sought after. I'm just gonna embrace the passion that I have already for this wonderful game, take advantage of this newfound desire to be in Eorzea, and above all, I'm just gonna do whatever makes me happy, because at the end of the day, I'd rather be making something that I'm passionate about for absolutely nothing instead of making nothing at all. Go follow me on Twitch. I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that is.